Hello, my name is David, and I have built a Lego Castle siege scene, and I will be reviewing it in a few parts. What has happened here is the king has sent money and resources to the baron, and this is the king, to upgrade the baron's old tower in the side of a mountain, into a small castle. And they have created a walled area, an armory, and even a prison cell, so that if there was ever a war, they could use this as a base. Now, the king, after several months of its completion, has decided that his daughter should take a vacation here because it seems safe, and there have been no attacks, and sent a few knights to inspect it. Now, in the outskirts of the town, the princess here was captured, and most of the knights, except for this one, were killed. So now the satanic cult has taken them prisoner, and they are threatening the kingdom, and it's really bad for the king. So he decides to get an army ready, and he goes here. Now, after they have captured the princess, they have raided the town. They have burned down the church because they're a satanic cult, and they believe in Satan, and that Christianity is not right. So the king arrives with his army a few weeks later, and they have defenses up already. Everything is ready, and now with this army they are prepared to attack. However, the satanic cult attacks them first. So they have already stolen horses, and they have captured everything inside the king's carriage, and stolen a bunch of stuff from the townspeople. Now, most of the peasants that have survived the attack are inside the tower, because it is not safe for them to be in the midst of the battle. So, this is a trebuchet right here, which uses a counterweight to fire projectiles across the battlefield and into the battlements. And this is a weapons cart filled with weapons, and small sort of tray filled with ammo for the trebuchet right here. The ammo is lit on fire and fired across into the castle. This is one of the advisors of the leader of the satanic cult, who is on a special horse. He has a sword with him, small sword right here, big sword in his hands, has a small banner here, and his horse has this horn, which is for the most part for an intimidation factor. Over here is the crew for the trebuchet, 3 soldiers, and a sort of heavy armored knight that is helping them arm it, fire it, and then bring it back down to prepare for another firing of it. Over here you have a cart filled with all kinds of loot. You have the king's bed from the carriage. You have weapons, armor, different things that they stole from the knights, and bags filled with gold and coins from the townspeople, and some pots and pans. Over here is where the princess and her knight, well, the last knight, are in chains, and 2 guards guarding them. Now also over here you have a projectile from the ballista, which has almost hit the advisor, but it was aimed for the leader. Because if you take him out, then the battle would go poorly for the satanic cult because they would be practically leaderless for some time. Over here you have another projectile that hit the side of the siege tower and also hit this guy in the waist. So he has fallen off and died. Here you have 3 peasant huts that were destroyed and used in the building of the siege tower and weapons cart. Here you have some infantry troops with axes and spears that are about to climb up the siege tower and into the battle. Also, you have a crossbow right here, which seems out of place, but it is not. And I'll get to that in a moment. Over here you have a heavily armored knight and, a heavily armored soldier and a regular soldier climbing up. And as you can see, all their weapons are on their backs. And this is because they have not climbed into the battle yet, and this is easier for them than to have them out on their hands as they're climbing the ladders. So there are 4 floors to the siege tower. And on the 3rd floor is where everything happens. Let me show you what's going on here. One of the heavily armored knights has died. And some more soldiers are storming in. Then you have them storming in through here. And this thing right here, it is a doorway, sort of. It is supposed to be here. And then it drops down and hits the walls. And then the soldiers can pour through it and into the towers and walls of the castle. So now you have an archer that's climbing up here. An archer who has died, and that is where the crossbow comes in because he has been hit and he has fallen here, but his crossbow has fallen all the way down to here. You have 2 more guys right here who have just fired their shots, and another guy who has just been hit in the side of the head by this man right here. And so he's falling off. This guy fired and he hit this guy, and now he's falling off. This guy has hit this guy, and he is also falling down, and he has hit one of the railways and is, well, falling back onto it and breaking it. You have 3 soldiers here, which are fighting these 2 guys and are going to swoop in here and cut off the soldiers and hopefully kill the soldiers in the siege tower. We have a knight that's coming down the stairway here, and a trio of knights, and even an archer that are getting ready to fight. So on the stair we have these guys climbing up, and then here you have a very special knight. This is the king's son, who is in special armor. He has a special shield, special chest plate, and even a sword on his side. So he is also very highly trained from when he was little to fight. So he is a very not experienced but very trained soldier. So then over here you have some of the shots from the trebuchet that have made a hole in the battlements. You have a fiery shot that has not been watered down yet by this man, who is taking all the things that are on fire and putting water on them so that the battlements don't catch on fire and make it worse for the kingdom. You also have an archer who has died here. Over here you have the armory with spears, short swords, long swords, extra bows, and crossbows, and a rack of helmets. And this was where a shield was, but it is now being used in the battle. Over here you have a sort of a dining area where you have a bowl filled with apples, carrots, celery, and let's drop that, onions, and a few bottles of beer and ale. because that was the only thing that they could drink in the Middle Ages, because the water was very bad. I have a few cups and glasses, and here you have big containers filled with the beer and ale. Now, over here, you have more soldiers lining up and climbing up here. You have a small well, which is where this soldier is getting the water out from. And you have two sets, so you have a pair of keys. It's very hard to see that, but there are keys here. And the prison cell I was talking about, which actually is holding one of the satanic cult members. And over here, you have an archer that's firing down onto these guys, which are climbing a ladder. You have a moving ballista. It rotates 360 around because the minifigures are in the way, so can't really move that right now. You have a small weapons rack with a longsword and a spear. And you have shots for the ballista. And these soldiers are getting ready for another shot. And this also fires. So one of the shots hit the wooden area and fell down, so it's on fire down here. Another shot is right here and it's burning. So that is oh, sorry, I almost forgot something. Here you have the gate, and the gate actually does move. This piece is removable. So in here you can see there are chains, and you can use that to lift it up, and then it comes right back down. And there are 3 rooms here. You have the room where it is moved. The gate is moved up and down, and you can fire arrows from here. Another room where you can fire arrows from. And then this area where you can move from this side of the castle to this side easily, and from this room to this room and this room. And there's a ladder here. You can see it. Let me move around to a place. This is the ladder that the soldiers use to get in between the 3 rooms in the gatehouse. And that sums up what is going on the battlefield. I will now show the trebuchet and ballista in action. I'm going to move the weapons card over here. And as I've said before, the trebuchet uses a big counterweight to fire the projectile across the battlefield over there. So, pull this out, and as you can see, it hit one of the soldiers. The soldier in the helmet. So it is really efficiently built. And you can change how far it fires by moving this like that. So if you want to fire closer, you move it like that. If you want to fire farther, you move it back like that. And then they use the rope to bring it back down and fire again. Now you notice how after a shot it would rock back and forth like that? Well, after a full shot it would also move on the wheels a bit, because the wheels are there for its protection. Because if the trebuchet starts rocking back and forth, it could break, and the shot does not fly as far as it would. Now to the ballista. I have already armed it. Oops. So just take that off like that. Put it here. Take a shot out. Now all the shots are the same, because if they were different, you would need to have different holes for the ballista. So right here, you can see there's this stick which you move out, and then it fires the shot across the field. So let me show you how that works. Put it here like that, and fire. As you can see, that flew all the way over here. and it flies much farther. But that is it for my Lego Castle Siege. I'd like to give a big thanks to Mr. Holman for helping me with the historical side of it. My friend Peter for giving me all kinds of Lego pieces that I needed. And also all the people that work at the Lego store for helping me at the pick a brick wall and helping me wisely spend my budget.